Welcome back. Each year, tens of thousands of people are treated for what the NHS calls problematic drinking. It's an issue that tears families apart. Vicky Pattison's father's an alcoholic, still struggling with the disease. And living the last 10 years of her life in the public eye, she's also known for drinking excessively. She now has a new documentary out, Vicky Pattison, My Dad, Alcohol and Me. Vicky, thanks for joining us on the show today. Now, first of all, you're a very well-known face to many people. You've been in a number of reality TV shows, including Geordie Shore, where you started. That's sort of where it all began for you. And then, of course, you won I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And I wanted to start off with this. You were a normal girl growing up in Newcastle, turned into this mega reality TV star. Was it by accident or design? Is it what you wanted to happen in your life, or did it happen to you?
That was some introduction, that mine, Beth. Thank you very much. So I don't think I ever necessarily wanted to be famous. Like, that wasn't a huge, driving force behind the things I did. I think more than anything, I wanted to be successful. I always have wanted to be, to do well at whatever I'm doing. I don't love predictability. And I suppose something about this world I'm in now always appealed to us. But I don't know if it was the fame, it was probably more the money, if I'm honest.
Well, you have become very successful at what you're doing. And I want to get onto the documentary, which is out this month. And I have to say, it made me cry. It was very moving. I found it a very moving documentary, and we can get onto that in a minute. But first, I just want to ask you about your time on Geordie Shore. You said it made you into someone else when you did it. What do you mean by that, Vicky?
I think when I first went on Geordie Shore, I was really young. So I was about 21, 22. And even though I felt so grown up and, I knew it all, which you do at that age, I was woefully unprepared for what I was letting myself in for. And I definitely didn't have the skills to navigate the space I found myself in. I think even before I went on the show, I had issues with alcohol. And based on what I've learned from the documentary, I've definitely discovered my motivations for drinking sort of all stem, well, drinking to excess anyway, from when I feel out of control, when I feel anxious, in big social situations, being in a situation that I don't feel like I have much control in, which is a reality TV show,
But also they encourage it, do they? Or did they at the time?
Yeah, I think, Geordie Shore it was exactly what it said on the tin, it was chaos. And it was a reality show that promoted young girls and boys kissing, corridor creeping, doing things they probably shouldn't, and probably, drinking a bit too much. I definitely think it exacerbated the issues I've got with alcohol, but it certainly wasn't the start of them.
OK. And Vicky, before we get onto the documentary, what pulled you out of Geordie Shore? What made you think it's time, I shouldn't be doing this anymore, it's not good for me? What happened?
I got into a lot of trouble on my time on Geordie Shore through being unhappy, out of control, and losing all the things I liked about myself. And I think there was one particular pivotal moment where I knew I needed a break. I was going through a lot personally, and I got told, after the next series, you're definitely going to have a prolonged break. You can go on holiday, see your family, see your friends, do whatever, just have a relax. And then they put another series in. They took that break away because it was becoming successful, it was gaining momentum, and I get it. But I told them I needed a break. I said, for my mental health, I shouldn't really be doing another series. And they said, that's absolutely fine. You can have a break, but we will replace you. And in that moment, I really believed I was working towards, making something, a huge show with everybody. And actually, I just realised I was very replaceable and undervalued. So that was the beginning of the end for me.
That must have been really hard, wasn't it? You said, I need a break, and they said, fine, but we'll replace you.
It was really tough. I don't think there's a lot of more duty of care now surrounding these shows, and quite rightly so. But back then, I think we sort of were guinea pigs in a way. I know there was people who came before with the Big Brothers and things like that, but our particular type of reality TV, everyone was learning as they went.
Would you do it again now?
Such a It's such a difficult question to answer because obviously I'm super grateful for where I am now, and I'm not arrogant enough to think I would have got there without the catalyst that was Geordie Shore. I love my platform. I love all the amazing things I get to do. And if it wasn't for Geordie Shore, I wouldn't be here. But if I could have got here another way, I think I would have preferred that.
Well, you did get here, and then you went on to win I'm a Celebrity. And I have to go on, but just a couple of things about it, because I love watching that show. But I do wonder when I watch it, is the reality of it quite monotonous and boring a lot of the time? You've got no phones, no books.
It's honestly...
No food, no booze.
That is the hardest bit. So everyone thinks it's like the bugs, and don't get me wrong, the heat is horrible, especially for like a little Geordie like me.
And you won.
I did.
Did that feel great?
That was the best feeling ever. It was part of validation because nobody really wanted us in there beforehand.
Why not?
I think everyone, if everyone had this preconceived notion that I was this like angry sort of yob from Geordie Shore who was going to go in there and, I don't know, punch a kangaroo or something. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous.
Look, let's get on to the documentary, because that's what you came on to talk about. Vicky Pattison, My Dad, Alcohol and Me. It says it all in the title. Yeah. It's a documentary about your dad, who's an alcoholic. Yeah. The first thing I wanted to ask, actually, was how is your dad now at the moment?
So, I've often said, the recovery from alcoholism, it's not linear. There's always going to be ups and downs. And at the moment, my dad's doing really well. He's at my house as we speak, bless him, but it was a little bit too hot for him to get into London today. But no, he's doing well. It's all we can hope for. Every day is a bit of a challenge, but yeah, he's winning his battle at the moment.
OK, so that's really good to know, because the documentary is all about his relationship with alcohol, your relationship with him and his difficulties, his 30-year battle, trying to stop drinking and failing and succeeding at different points. And you explore that relationship with him in... It's an incredibly watchable and moving documentary.
Thank you.
The thing that comes out in it is that this fear that you have that you are going to become your dad.
Always worried, because I'm like him in a lot of ways, you know? And I was aware that I had an addictive personality. I do everything to extremes. If I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to go 5 days a week. If I'm going to party, I want to be the last one standing. There was never any balance. So I convinced myself that it was a foregone conclusion that I was just going to end up like my dad. And it led us down some real self-sabotaging paths at times.
And Vicky, you said you talk in the documentary about having a complicated relationship with alcohol. Do you think you're an alcoholic or could become an alcoholic, or you think it's more nuanced for you and it's about being mindful?
I think there was a period in my life where there was a very good chance I could have ended up being an alcoholic, yeah.
And when was that?
Do you know, it's the weirdest thing. When I came out of the jungle, everyone assumed I had the world at my feet, and I should have been the happiest I'd ever been. But I was really out my depth. And I had rage and imposter syndrome. I didn't believe I deserved anything I was getting. And because I felt out of place at these big parties and I was meeting all these big celebs that I didn't, I'd grew up watching and I didn't think I deserved to meet, I drank to cope with being quite insecure and overwhelmed. And it could have easily gotten very out of control. But my agent stepped in, I got a therapist, I got help. And I think that was a bit of a turning point for me as well. But I am aware that it's a very fine line between sort of enjoying alcohol for me and not being able to know when to stop. And I have to work really hard to be on the right side of that line.
So did you stop drinking for a while then after? You drank heavily after and then did you stop once you saw the therapist? Did you think, I've got to go cold turkey here? Or was it never like that for you?
I've had periods of sobriety, definitely. More than anything to prove to myself that I could. But no, I've never been totally teetotal. And I would like to avoid having to do that if possible. But I'm not opposed to it. Because,
if you feel you need to.
Yeah, definitely. There's other things I want more.
And Vicky, that what strikes me in the documentary is how close you are to both your parents. It's actually lovely. You can see that there is such a connectivity between you and your mum, and also you and your dad. And I wondered, watching it, whether after your mum and dad divorced, it seemed to me that you sort of had to step in a bit and become the kind of carer for your dad, or take responsibility in the family for his alcoholism and trying to fix him. Is that kind of what happened? And did you resent that, or did you just accept it as his daughter? I wondered whether it made you angry.
Don't get us wrong, there's been times in my life where I've been really angry at my dad for being an alcoholic, but I think that showed a lack of understanding of the disease in general. And I'm sure anybody who is going through something similar or has in the past can understand it's an incredibly frustrating disease. But he didn't choose to be this way. And I'm certainly no martyr. Like, me mum, regardless of whether she was married to me dad or living with him or not, she's always cared and she's always been there.
And Vicky, I think we've got a clip actually from the documentary when you're talking to your mum about how you're feeling. I think, can we play that?
You know, when I went on Geordie Shore, never thought about what it must be like for you having to watch me, like, abuse alcohol and drink and become that horrible version of myself and echo so many things my dad did. I never thought about that.
I didn't like seeing it, but I knew it wasn't you, but I never thought you were like an alcoholic like I did your dad. I thought, she's just young, it's going to pass. It's just when she's in her 20s, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I do work really hard, you know, to be this version of me.
I would love you to get to the stage where you don't have to work hard. Just be you. Yeah. Oh, bless you.
I really love you.
I love you too.
I just love your mum.
She's lush, isn't she?
Yeah, she really is. She really is. Is that hard, hearing your mum say that, but also is it getting easier for you, do you think?
I don't think I'll ever... Like, every time I watch the documentary, I still cry.
Yeah, it's a hard watch.
It is a real tearjerker for me, and, like, I can't remove myself from it. It's my life, you know? And again, like, my dad's recovery it's not all neatly sewn up. It's ongoing, so it'll always tug at my heartstrings. But, no, I think I get emotional just because my family means so much to us. And this documentary means a lot to us as well, you know? Like, I was dead passionate about making it.
I just wanted to ask you just about your life now, because you're settled, you've got a lovely boyfriend. You talk in the documentary about wanting to get married and have kids, but you also talk about being scared about having kids because you don't want to repeat past patterns, and also, obviously, you can't drink for a number of months, really.
Yeah.
I mean, when I had my babies, it was a bit more relaxed. You could have a couple of drinks, but I think now the recommendation is nothing, isn't it? Does that scare you, that idea, or do you feel more ready now, having gone through the journey of the documentary?
I think, like, years ago, I would have been really intimidated at the prospect of going, like, 9, 10 months, even longer, whatever it is, without a drink, which is a really... it's a horrible thing for us to admit. That doesn't make me proud, you know? I also was just, like, really scared. Like you say, I was just going to have children who felt in some way broken, like me. But the documentary's brought us a lot of peace and a lot of clarity.
Can I just say, you do not seem like a broken person. You really... You're actually the opposite, I think.
Thank you. So sorry. I felt like, and one of my main motivations for making this documentary was that I had this strong belief that there was a huge element of alcoholism that was completely genetic. That because my dad had it in him, I was just going to have it in me. And then I truly believed that my kids would have it too. And I didn't want them to feel different to everybody else, to feel out of control, to feel powerless to stop something. Like their life was only ever going to be one way. It was going to be hard and sad, and they were going to hurt people they loved. So that was a huge reason why I haven't had children yet. But now I am in a really good place with a really nice man. And I've done this documentary and learned loads about this illness. And I understand there's an element of it that is learned behaviour and potentially hereditary. But more than that, I know we have choices as well.
Yeah. OK, well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing the documentary, because I think it will help lots of people out there who have family members who are alcoholics, who have lived through this in some way. And I really enjoyed talking to you, so thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. I
Really
had a lovely
enjoyed it.
time.
Thank you.